our memory cafes, held monthly at the Okotoks Seniors Club, I met the Godfreys, a couple who are dedicated to making a difference in the lives of those impacted by dementia. Over the past few months, we've partnered to increase the awareness of dementia in the foothills, and their sharing has extended to Calgary and even beyond. And I'm grateful for their partnership in making communities more dementia-friendly. So I'm honored to introduce Neil Godfrey, who knows firsthand the experience of living with dementia. Please join me in welcoming.
Morning, and it is. Good day, my name is Neil Godfrey. The title of my talk today is Managing My Life Through My Cognitive Distortion Resulting from Alzheimer's Disease. My subtitle is Perplexed but Not Without Hope, St. Paul, 2 Corinthians. My purpose today is to share my journey into early onset Alzheimer's and to educate you about Alzheimer's disease. I am 63 years old. I have 3 married children, 6 grandchildren, and 1 granddog. We live in Pritis. I worked in the oil patch as a geoscientist for 38 years. I was very competent with physics, science, technology. I was very comfortable before public speaking presentations. I am an artist of oil and watercolor. I'm an avid skier, hiker. I volunteer at a drug and alcohol rehab center in Pritis as a mentor currently. I retired from Encana at 55 years old. I consulted part-time with various companies until I finally retired again in 2015. 21 months later, I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at the age of 61. What is Alzheimer's? It is the most common type of dementia. It is physical, progressive, degenerative disease of the brain where a protein amyloid plaque entangles cause the brain cells to die. It's not the same plaque as our teeth or in our hearts. It is a normal protein that starts normally to fold, causing blockage and death to the brain cells. Other types of dementia are vascular, Lewy body, frontal temporal lobe. My journey into Alzheimer's disease. At the age of 60, I began to notice cognitive issues. Instant evaporation of thoughts, searching for words or names, struggling with technology, general confusion. Often I would get disorientated. Familiar tasks weren't so familiar anymore. My organizational skills were failing. In the spring of 2016, tax preparation drove me to tears literally. I wept in my home office realizing something was happening to my brain. It was a sad, sobering moment. Late in 2016, at my annual physical, I presented my laundry list of cognitive failures to my GP. His response was, "That's normal, Neil, you're 60, and he sent me on my way. But I continued into the depths of my cognitive failure. I was regularly confused and disorientated, forgetting what I couldn't remember, or not remembering what I already forgot. Whew. I began to struggle with telling time. I often just guessed. I transitioned from a Roman numeral wristwatch to a watch with numbers, then to a digital watch, all in about 2 or 3 months. In the spring of 2017, I was skiing at Nakiska with my ski boots on the wrong feet. I did not know that until lunchtime when I realized my folly. I have skied for 50 years. In fact, I grew up in a ski family racing, and so it's very familiar for me, but I put my ski boots on the wrong feet. So I went back to my doctor with this new information. He gave me a mini mental cognitive test in his office. Count backwards from 100 by sevens. Draw a clock with all the numbers in the correct positions and set it at a designated time. Draw an assortment of three-dimensional geometric shapes. Remember this list of pictures on flashcards and to be remembered later on. No, I took off. Sorry, one moment, please. I forgot what I can't remember. I failed miserably. I think I got 1 or 2. My doctor sent me for a CAT scan to eliminate a brain tumor. There was none. More scans, PET scan, MRI. Finally, I'm sent off to a doctor at the South Hospital, and I was diagnosed with a rare type of Alzheimer's disease called PCA, which is posterior cortical atrophy. So the blockage of my amyloid plaque is at the back right-hand side of my brain where vision is. So that explains, that explains my ski boot story. Now my boots are marked with a big L and a big R. It also explains putting on my golf shirts backwards, but I recognize that right away as well. It also explains sometimes when I miss a letter in my name when I'm signing one of my paintings. The first time it happened, the purchaser called back and said, you left the I out of your name, Neil. And I said, well, I can change it if you'd like. And he said, no thanks, it'll be worth more. That's a true story. This has happened about 5 or 6 times, and Joanne tells me it's not my brain, it's not my eyes, it's my brain. It also explains the problems I had as I wrote this speech on my laptop, searching for the letters on the keyboard. My neurologist told me that I have had Alzheimer's for several years prior to diagnosis without knowing it. Oh yeah, as I think in hindsight. That explains a lot. The day I was diagnosed, I was prescribed with a drug called Aricept. It is a medication. It's used for the treatment of symptoms for people with Alzheimer's disease. It works in the brain to improve thinking, memory, attention, and ability to do simple tasks. My neurologist told me, though, it will only work for several years. I consider myself a highly functional Alzheimer's patient on the outside, what you see. I currently present myself pretty normally in familiar social gatherings. But on the inside, sometimes it's a raging battle to connect my thoughts to words, my names to faces, my agenda to action. I still have issues of short-term memory, confusion, disorganization. I struggle with directions, instructions on how to or where to. It can cripple my brain. I make lists upon lists upon lists, and I tuck them away in safe places, never to be found again. The madness of it all. Early on in my diagnosis, I kept misplacing objects of importance. Now I use the basket system. As soon as I arrive home, my keys, my phone, my wallet go into the same basket. I know where to find it later. I also have a backup called Bluetooth, and it's a tile. So I've got little XYZs in my wallet, and Joanne could track me down anywhere. I want to make a comment about stress and anxiety. Any kind of stress can now cause me to be anxious, which is new for me. I've always been a confident person. The beast of anxiety can rule in simple tasks that once were ordinary and unassuming. From unfamiliar roads to tax preparation, public speaking, or any technological device, remote control, an iPhone, GPS, a computer. I am now somewhat stupefied and mystified by these devices. I have to count on Joanne a lot. I manage my anxiety by managing my stress. I should stop looking up because I lose my page here. It saddens me. Things that were normal aren't normal anymore. I need assistance, but I'm not ashamed. It is what it is. New situations, new people, which I handled very well historically, now I avoid. The main categories currently that affect me, and ultimately Joanne, are my cognitive impairment, my memory loss. It's not that I don't remember, but often I can't remember. Often a lost thought is lost for good. Simple tasks that I once mastered are now a chore. Often I need help from Joanne, just frustrated, or I get just frustrated and give up. I struggle with directions, mostly where to, in the mall, on a trail that I'm hiking, and in the world of, I lived in the world of maps, and now I can't navigate through maps anymore. I need some help. I talk about my behavior changes. I have transitioned from a big E extrovert to a small I introvert. I shy away from some social gatherings as they can be stressful. Once a very confident, socializing man, now I am reserved in new or large social situations. I can get frustrated and moody because I can't do what I once did. I manage my life. I make decisions, simple and complicated decisions. I am a shadow of my former self. Familiar is a key word for most Alzheimer's patients. I edit my life. I make choices on who and how many in social situations. I avoid stress, which causes anxieties, so I manage my life the best I can, but there's always a blind side. I can get cognitively overstimulated and emotionally burnt out, especially if I do too much in one day. My limit is 2 events. A couple of episodes of the TV show American Pickers, and I'm back in normal. Crazy, I know. I can feel lost, marginalized, invisible in a crowded social situation. I try to focus on things that I can do, not the things that I can't do. I ski regularly at Nikiska. I've already renewed my pass. I hike in other seasons. In fact, I'm leaving on Sunday to go camping by myself at McLean Creek. I'm an artist, and I love to get away to paint. Photo references. I taught a 4-week watercolor class last November to 12 students. Last fall, I spoke to the University of Graduation class of neurologists at the Foothills Hospital. I continue to volunteer at Teen Challenge as a mentor. I have shared my Alzheimer's story at 3, now 4 libraries, and somewhere else, Joanne? Several other places. I've got a couple more appointments, churches, others. The churches are interested to listen to the story, or it's a great venue anyway. I want to talk about Drive Able. I requested, this is rare I think, I requested a driving test myself from my doctor, from a company that just does cognitive driving tests for people like myself or elderly. And I passed it, and that was good, but that doesn't mean I'm going to drive on every road. So I edit everything, so I only drive on my familiar roads. I'm born and raised in Calgary. I've probably got, a good 70 familiar roads that I can get around. Except if you've been out west where we live in Pritis. There are so many changes on Highway 22, it's a disaster for me. Drug trials I'd like to talk about now. Over the years, diagnosis of Alzheimer's has improved, but so far all clinical trials have failed. I recently participated in a Biogen drug trial for early onset Alzheimer's. I received an infusion every month, MRIs every 6 weeks. The drug did a great job of vacuuming out the nasty amyloid protein plaque. But the drug, it made it to stage 3, but the drug study was canceled because the drug did not stop cognitive impairment. That's why it was canceled. As we age, it is very important to be aware of our own cognitive fitness. Historically, Alzheimer's and dementia were taboo to talk about. It was hidden, denied, embarrassing, shameful, even a curse. Today, many people still live in the shadows of dementia. It is not talked about. It is covered up. Those affected ignore it or hide it, hoping that no one will notice. I encouraged my younger brother, 3 years younger than I, to go to get a mini mental from his doctor. The doctor queried him and said, "Paul, what's wrong with you? Are you struggling cognitively?" He said, "Oh no, I want a baseline." The doctor said, "Great idea, come back every 3 years." Getting a baseline from your MD doctor can be a good thing. At least it can give you a baseline. We recently did a DNA test from 23andMe. It included all the health and medical markers that we were possibly concerned about. But my neurologist tells me that most Alzheimer's is spontaneous or random, not hereditary. It's less than 5% that are due to grandma and grandpa. I did get an interesting surprise on my genetic ancestors. On my paternal side, I'm on the same bloodline as King Richard III of England. True? Never met him though. And I'm also on my mother's side, I'm on the same bloodline as Napoleon. And I also found out I'm 4 generations away from 100% Jewish blood. So I knew my grandpa was Jewish, but I didn't know how close it was to the whatever. I'm still Neil. I'm relational, authentic, intentional, transparent, living with a purpose. The dream of our golden years has changed, but we hope to navigate this journey with dignity, educating ourselves and others with the reality of this ugly disease. The movie I'm Still Alice is very similar to my storyline, so if you haven't watched it in a while or ever, it's a worthy watch. We are proactive, we're planning ahead, simplifying, utilizing our time wisely, making family memories. What gives me hope every day is my strong Christian faith in Jesus. He is my anchor, my peace in the storm. My hope is in the resurrection. Joanne is the love of my life, my compass, my trusted care partner. She now carries the load of the household responsibilities. She encourages me, educates me, protects me. She loves me as I am and as I will be. Our motto is boots on, eyes wide open. If you know people in your life with Alzheimer's, treat them with love, grace, dignity, patience. Be understanding. Visit them. Treat them normal. It's not contagious. Spend time with them. Include them. Be an advocate for them. Just a little short version, and then I'm done here. Just some diet. The MIND diet, which is a combination between I don't know what diet it is, a Mediterranean DASH diet. Anyways, it really involves a lot of vegetables, berries, grains, olive oil, beans, poultry, all the good food. If it's bad food, you shouldn't have it because it could help building up gunk in your brain. Okay, last comment. Even broken crayons can still color.